I'll start with what I prepared today, which is double processing. So I couldn't find a appropriate or useful image from you guys' submission. So I pulled out a file that I used to do a demonstration with, which is this picture. And this could almost relate to Lara's question about the highlight and shadows, and then how you can recognize the highlight and the shadows and then stuff like that too. This photographs, by looking at this, well, what can you tell about this photograph? What's going on in terms of exposure?
Foreground is not lit.
Foreground is not lit. Background is bright. Shadowed. So in here, by looking at this picture, maybe the natural thought process would be what? Or what would you do?
To mask the foreground and lighten it.
Curves?
Or curve? Yeah, you can use curves or you can mask them, but well, maybe change the question then. Or maybe I should, yeah.
Open up the shadows.
Open up the shadows. That is probably what I would do, because my subject matter or the subject was that this person, and it happened to be against the bright sky, and then I didn't have time to adjust the exposure, so it happened to be a silhouette. And if that is the goal, that if I wanted to capture the silhouette, that's perfect. This is a perfect picture. But say that wasn't my intention, and I would like to save this picture or introduce more of the detail of this person in the front. And that is the case study here. The Lightroom is becoming, and camera raw processor, I would say, is becoming so smart that this double processing for this particular image, you can do a very similar effect without having the double processing by using a shadow. I mean, if you open this all the way, I mean, it's there. It's there.
What do you mean by double processing?
So I'll show you what I mean by that.
What is the name of?
Information is here too. And then,
Oh yeah, I can't read what that function is that you just used.
oh, the shadow.
Thank you.
But if you look at this though, what is opening up? That is shadow too, right?
All the dark area.
All the dark areas. And if I start to use the highlights, it opens up the highlights, or I can even make the highlights darker to bring out more of the dramatic sky. And then I can bring out the shadows. But I'm trying to achieve this similar effect by putting two images processed differently and combine those two as layers in Photoshop, and then kind of put them as one picture. Meaning,
This is like HDR processing?
looks like it, yeah. It's not HDR, but yeah, it will look like it too. And then that is what I mean by double processing. Let's just take a look at this here. This first photograph is the one that you just looked at. This is original. And I processed this original photographs into two different ways. Processed them into two different ways. One, revealing the shadow. Another one, give more intensity to the highlights. And then I combine the two into Photoshop as a layer, and this is the resulting image.
You mean each of these is a separate layer? Is that what you?
And then you're gonna see the process now.
So you mean each of these is
So
a
I
separate
have
layer?
two layers basically on top of each other.
So you have to create two layers in Lightroom,
Yeah,
each process differently, and then you take both to Photoshop to put them together?
exactly. So basically, it's the big idea is one picture, starting one picture, creating two virtual copies. So it looks like two different pictures. Its bracket looks like one adjusting to have more of the shadow information that would sacrifice the highlights. But I know I'm going to combine the two, so I don't care. I just wanted to bring in all the shadow information. And then another one, I process it to have the good information in the highlight area in the sky. I will sacrifice the shadow information, but I don't care because I am going to combine the two later. And then this is the combined result. And then you can adjust a lot more too to reveal more of the shadow areas and then control it too. So this is what I'm going to show you. Okay. So I'm gonna actually get rid of these ones because I showed you already. Yeah. So starting point is just one picture. And I would create two virtual copies. Two virtual copies. So now I have three exact same thing. I'm gonna keep the original as is. And actually, you know what? I should have done something else. Let me just get rid of these ones first. I should white balance this picture. I should white balance this picture just briefly. And this is just asphalt down here, so I just white balance from that. And then after that, I'm going to create the virtual copy. I just wanted to have those two virtual copies to have the same white balance. That's why I white balanced the original. Okay, so now I have those two exact same virtual copy. I'll take one and I'll start to adjust this to reveal the shadow information. I'm actually going to bring out the exposure some. Then trying to bring out more of the shadow information. So it was like this, but now it looks like this. I'm sure I got a lot of noise. Well, but the color noise seems like it's taken care of. But when you are pulling out a lot of information that is underexposed, you get a lot of color noise or any kind of noise. And I'm trying to find the noise reduction, but I should do this adjustment first. And then I'll do some color noise reduction, but mostly gone. All right, so I'm happy with this part. This one, I'm gonna try to even intensify the highlights, so I can bring down the highlights information maybe. I could give a little bit of the clarify to give a little pop to the cloud. I can even give a little bit of the color using the vibrance. I lost a lot of information in the shadow, but that's all right. So I have information. It's almost like it's not highlighted anymore, by the way, but I'm gonna fix this later. So now I probably should go all the way down here and apply the profile adjustments that I did. So both have the same profile adjustments. I don't know if I'm getting a noise, so noise reduction, I don't worry about that. So now I have those two photographs from one picture.
So you just did the clarity on the one, the clarity and the saturation on the one with the highlights. You didn't worry about that in your shadows one, right?
This one, you mean this one?
Yeah.
Maybe not. White balance is what I'm kind of worried about. The clarity shouldn't be.
Should you do the color profile at the first picture at the very beginning instead of this two virtual copies? Wait till you do the two virtual copies.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
To create the virtual copies, what did you do? Go to the tray and then right click?
Right click. Now I'm selecting those two pictures and I'm going to open those two photographs as layers. Open as layers in Photoshop. And those two photographs will be combined into one file and composite it as a layer here, right? It's a layer here. I'm gonna actually, this is probably good.
You highlight both versions and then you put add to it. Okay.
Yeah. So in here, I'm actually going to take the dark one on the top and then the light one at the bottom. That is actually pretty important. And I'm going to mask the sky. So masking happens really simply, actually. I'm going to use this lighter version, more contrasty version of the image as a mask and apply it to here. This is how it works. Hide this, so all you can see is this lighter version. I'm going to select all, so the picture entire area is selecting. And then I copy it, copy. So I just copy the information in here in the computer. I'm going to come over to this darker picture. I'm going to make a mask. Right now, mask doesn't have anything in it. If you, I think it is option click the mask, you can only see the mask. And that is also very important to just show the mask like this and then paste it. Then I just paste it. This information I just copied into my mask. It looks black and white because this is a mask. This mask is too sharp. This mask is too sharp. Kind of looks like this right now. It's combined right now. Can you kind of tell what is going on in here? This white area in the mask reveals what's in this picture, right? So it's showing the sky area. This is white. So it's showing the sky area. And then hiding this dark area, which is this dark area, and then showing what's underneath it, basically. That is what's going on in here. And then I'm going to go into the mask. I'm going to just blur it a little bit. Let me just show this. And then get rid of a little bit of the details because the mask is pretty sharp. So this is how it is, how sharp it is, and just kind of soften it, just a slight a bit, so that the sharp edge is kind of gone. And then that also help you to merge a little bit more too. Now it looks very, very flat to me. And if you look at the histogram, of course it is flat, and then we knew that there is no highlights in here. So we can adjust that later on. But also, this mask can be manipulated, increase the contrast or low contrast to hide or reveal part of this picture, basically. I'm going to go into adjustments and say curves, and then see what happens. I would like you to see many, many things in here. Here, this is the mask, right? This is your image, and this is my curve. As I move, you see how tones of the mask start to change? Means that if I make it lighter tones overall, versus darkening it. What's revealed underneath and what's showing on this layer is controlled by it, basically.
I don't understand. So your curve refers to
To
the
my
combination of the two?
Not the mask.
Or just
the mask.
How is it that you specify the mask? Did you right click on the mask?
No, I'm just selecting the mask and putting the curves directly to the mask.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is not adjustment. This is not a adjustment layer.
Right, so you had to go through the menu structure
Right.
to get there.
Right.
And Aya, what's this channel Aya class?
Oh, this is basically my mask.
That's the name.
That's my mask.
Oh, that's the name that the Photoshop assigned it. Oh, okay.
So at this point, you can adjust it and then see how the combination of the highlight and then shadow plays off of each other by changing this. I'm just grabbing the middle point and then going left and right, basically. And I can even...
On the layers, when you do the curve, it doesn't really show anything different in terms of the description.
what do you mean the description?
On the wording, or any icon or anything, it doesn't.
Because it's
Because
not a
this-
separate layer.
Right, because this is a layer mask.
Right, but before and after, except the black and white look a little different, but
Right.
in terms of the labeling or description or something, you cannot really tell. Right, it doesn't say curve or anything.
It's because she's not making an adjustment layer. She's just applying the adjustment directly to an existing layer.
So let me just say, cancel this. That is how I was adjusting the mask tonality, right? If I go to this adjustment layer and click on it, it creates a new adjustment layer that applies to the entire picture, but it will not apply specifically to my mask. So if I would like to specifically adjust the mask, I need to click to highlight it, right? Click to highlight it. And then instead of going to the adjustment layer, I go to the destructive way and you go to adjustments and then curves. You can do levels too. Then this time I am adjusting this one, not the picture, but
But why are we adjusting the mask? Why aren't we adjusting the merged pictures?
I just wanted to have a different combination of the highlight and then shadows. Yeah.
Yeah. Changing the mask lets different things through from the bottom one.
Yeah.
So that's what changes everything. You know, it's like you're in control of what is controlling.
It's a little confusing.
I think technically, isn't that effect on curve on the mask is like you changing the opacity of the mask, but at a different place you have a different.
That is very well explained, yes. Right.
And then once you click OK, then you're stuck with that, right?
Well, I'm stuck with that, and then I can go back
And throw
and
it
then
away and do
adjust
another
some information too. Yeah.
Right.
So you can fine tune the mask and then reveal or hide certain part. So this is before and after. So the adjustments start to look slightly different. Then on top of this, you can adjust overall. Like if you like to have more of the contrast, you can do that this way too. So that's the final touch, so that it's not so flat. This is really, without this one, it's pretty flat. There is no highlights whatsoever. And then I'm gonna save this one and then bring that one back.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
When you have the two virtual copies
Yes.
and to come to the Photoshop, in order for the clouds, the part to come through more, therefore the virtual copy of the lighter one, would it be better to make the sky part almost totally white so that when you work on the Photoshop, the sky part can go through, can see through? Because you use the lighter one as a mask and on the darker one, and so only the white part, it will show the bottom layer.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, if the mask layer, the sky, the highlight part is all white, then it will be better to make the sky to come through on the bottom layer.
So you're saying to make it,
I think you did start pretty white, but I was just thinking whether at the very beginning you just aimed at by making your lighter copy to have almost all white sky to start with.
Yeah.
So it will be more effective.
Oh, to have more white sky.
To begin, so you
When
can
you
have
adjust
more
it.
colorful sky in the real result.
I see. Yes and no. Yes and no. I can see your thought process. But then if you start to create an extreme contrast, you start to have a halos when it gets combined onto each other. So I wouldn't go for the complete, like, revealing the shadow information versus making this one really dark. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just to go back to your first step. You
Yeah.
put both pictures into Photoshop.
Yep.
You just took 2 pictures and highlighted them.
Yes, so here I'm highlighting those 2 pictures together and then right click and edit in
Right.
and then open as layers in Photoshop.
Oh.
As layers, okay.
If you are highlighting more than 1 pictures in Lightroom, then this option will be available, but otherwise it will not be available. So you have to select more than 1 picture, or so 2 multiple photographs in order to have this option available. Okay?
How did you get that low angle?
I was shooting from the hip, not really looking through the lens. All right, so now the third one came back. And this is the combined version from this one to this one.
You have
To this
steps.
I do have a steps, and then that's the last exercise I would like you to try. I don't know if you can find the picture actually. If you don't find the appropriate picture to try out this method, I can make this image available online. So that is probably what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put this picture online on the exercise site after this demo, so you can use this picture to try out if you don't have the picture.
Can you review the steps?
I do have the steps written.
You have them in.
Yeah. So if you go to Blackboard, in here, in the exercise section, I do have it here, double processing. So try that.
Could you also use images that you had taken bracketing, bracketed images to extreme bracketed images and do the same thing?
Yes, but if it's not aligning, you might want to do align before you
Right.
do this process because it really requires the alignment.
Right.
Because you're using one picture to make the mask for another. So it is possible.
Right, but to do the auto align then in Photoshop.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So take a look and then see how it works. Would you like to have some work time, or I can get into another material? What was the combining? Work time? Okay. So we'll gather later. All right.
Okay.
Let's try it out.